All right, what is going on, everybody? Real quick this time, I promise we're going to be talking about the HSL Secondary tab within your Lumetri Color tab in Premiere Pro. Now, there are tons of tutorials out there on how to utilize and use this. Mainly, I'm going to do a quick overview and just one example of how I use it pretty much on the regular. So, again, welcome to Quick Tips. My name is Colin McHugh, and let's jump into Premiere Pro so I can give you a quick example of how I use the HSL Secondary tab. Let's do it. Okay, cool. So we are sitting in Adobe Premiere Pro now, and I'm just going to give you some quick examples of how I use the HSL Secondary. So first and foremost, I'm almost always shooting video of myself. So I'll bring some of that up. Look at this guy. Basically, I get a lot of sun and I don't have like the perfect complexion. So one thing that I always use the HSL slider is, actually, let me maybe just back up a little bit here. So your HSL slider, I'm in the color menu, but bottom line, if you open up your Lumetri color, I always tend to rotate between these working formats. When I'm editing, I'm in the editing format. When I'm in color, I'm in color. And when I want to mess around with audio, I'm in audio. Okay, you get the idea. So I'm in color. Here's my playback. Here's my timeline. And here is my Lumetri color and essential graphics over here on the right. So I'm in my Lumetri color, and you've got all your normal tabs, your basic color, creative curves, color wheels and match, HSL secondary and vignette. So we're gonna go ahead and click HSL secondary, and you basically have a section where you are keying specific colors at different highlights, shadows, and lightness, so that you can then make changes to them. So one thing you could do is you're gonna grab your eyedropper, and for me, I do this all the time, and I grab kind of like the most red part of my forehead or face, because often I'm not stoked on how like red some parts of my face are. You can do anything you want with this. This is just something I conveniently use it for, kind of on the daily. So if you hit this color/gray, it's going to show you what you selected, and you're like, okay, that's a pretty good selection of the red areas, but I kind of want to cover a little bit more ground. So you've identified the color you want. Now you can kind of mess around with the saturation colors that you want to affect, and that same color but at different brightnesses. Okay, so we're making some good leeway. We're starting to get some stuff in the background. Don't really want that orange Nike box. But this is a pretty good selection of some of the red parts of my face that I don't want to be as red. So I can unclick the color gray. Not gonna mess around with this color wheel, but you can, you could add some greens in there, icky. You could add some purple in there, trippy. And you can also double click on that to send it back to its original settings. But one thing I am going to do is just take the saturation bar down here and drop that maybe to 95. Okay, so if I toggle this on and off, it's super subtle, but your face looks a little bit less red and a little bit more of a nice clean tan tone, depending on your ethnicity and skin color. So that's one way that I use it really quickly, but I did want to show at least one other way that you could use it, so that you're getting a little bit more for your bang for your buck here. So I'm going to go over to this awesome clip of just like, panning a nice sunrise, kind of a misty field. Really cool. And you can tell that this is a really warm shot, but I just kind of want to warm it up a bit. And of course you could do this in your basic coloration, but if you just kind of want to select certain areas, boom, HSL secondary. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to take my eyedropper. I'm going to get some of the yellow right around the sun. And then I'm also going to hit the plus eyedropper. And I'm going to hit some of this kind of misty area out here. So I've made two selections, and it's going to kind of encompass both those colors now with what I've clicked here. So if I hit the color gray, okay, so I've got some of that warmness. I'm going to expand the saturation, and this slider down here, the lightness, is really going to give me a little bit more. But you know what? I'm kind of feeling a little bit more orange. And now let's unclick this, see where we're at. I'm just gonna add some orange to that. All right, and I'm gonna warm the temperature a little bit to that. Nice, it's looking kind of cool. And let's click that, cool. check off and on. Okay, so we've just kind of warmed up the scene a bit, right? Like we've added some oranges to those beams while also keeping the bottom 2 corners as green as the grass was in the original shot. So nice. Now we've got a little bit of a warmer sunrise. Sunrise or sunset. Honestly, I'm looking at this, I kind of want to add some of those blues in there maybe, so we can select a bit more. Ooh, kind of liking that, Getting a little bit more, blur into the gray. Oh yeah, that's looking a little better. Like that a lot more, Now we got a nice warm morning. Maybe it wasn't that warm, now it is. Okay, so that's how I use the HSL Secondary. I showed you how I used it in my talking portions to kind of take the red out of my face sometimes. And then I also showed you how to maybe use it in some more, if you're a nature videographer, or if you're doing some sort of an outdoor shoot with a client and they want it to look nice and warm when it was really freezing and you were like getting rained on all morning. So it's a cool tool. It's pretty powerful and it's pretty quick, all within Premiere Pro for you to get this stuff done. That is going to be all I'm going to be doing here in the screen recording portion. Okay guys, so that's how I use the HSL Secondary tool. I think it's really awesome that you can do this all in Premiere Pro. It's essentially where you can key something and then make corrections to it like you just saw. So if you got anything out of this video, hopefully you enjoyed it a little bit. Please like, comment, or subscribe, and I will see you in the next quick tips. Thanks.